So we're going to use our quadratic formula exclusively. So this is it. Joao just had a good question. When you go negative 7 squared, we all know that if you square a negative, you get positive, right? But if you type it in like that, the calculator is assuming that only 7 is squared. And then it will put a negative in front of that answer. So if you want to do negative 7 squared, you have to use brackets for it to do it properly. So those are little nuances with the calculator. I believe almost any calculator would do that. Let me see here. Negative 7 squared. All right, so calculators, for the most part, think that there is no bracket. Obviously, if you don't put a bracket, it's going to assume that 7 needs to be squared and then a negative, then multiplied by negative 1. Okay, that's the bed mass, right? Exponents first, multiplication second. So keep that in mind. All right, so here we have A is negative 4.1, B is negative 2.7, C is positive 3. Make sure you get the signs right as well. So here we go. It calls for negative B. B is negative 2.7, right? So there will be a double negative there. Plus or minus, take the root of B squared minus 4 times A. A is negative as well. Okay. Times C. C is 3. Make sure the roof goes over everybody that lives in there, okay? Think of it that way. The root goes all the way. And then all of this, and the entire thing gets divided by 2 times A. Okay? So that's how you set this one up. Got it? So now we clean it up. So some of you just love entering the whole thing in one shot. I would say do the discriminant first, because if this is negative, we don't even have roots. You can stop. So I will do that part first. So see how I go like this, negative 7 squared, 2.7, sorry. Negative 2.7 squared minus 4 times negative 4.1 times 3, right? So if you use brackets, you'll get it right every time. So that's 5649. 5649 is what I have. Are we good? Yeah. What's that? Flip the numbers to the 0. Oh, like bring them all over? You can, and then every single sign is going to be different, but you and I will get the same final answer. Because saying that 0 is equal to this, or this is equal to 0, it is actually the same thing. So I know what you're saying. So if you bring everything over, I like that question actually. That would be 4.1x squared positive. This one comes over positive as well. This one comes over negative, and then it's equal to 0, right? So you're saying bring all of this over to this side, and then bring the 0 over to that side. If you were to enter these values, you get the same answer as me. You don't believe me? Watch. Okay, so I copy pasted this, right? So this is technically positive. 4.1 is also positive, correct? And then this would be negative 3. So the way to insert, I don't know if I told you about this, I go second delete. It lets me insert something into my existing equation. You get the same answer. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you bring everything over to the left or to the right, just make sure you have a 0 on one of the sides. Got it? Anyways, so let's keep going. Clean it up. Negative and negative is positive, right? 2.7 plus or minus, take the root. This is 56.49. Since this is positive, right? Discriminant is positive, therefore 2 roots, right? We're going to have 2 x-intercepts. You can just by observation tell that already. And then we do the denominator. 2 times negative 4.1 is negative 8.2. So you clean it up. You clean up whatever's in the discriminant that should be just boiled down to one number. And this is when I split up, okay? Because the plus or minus is telling me that you can get one of the roots by going this plus this divided by that, and the other root is 2.7 minus the root divided by negative 8.2, okay? So root 1, so to speak, is 2.7 plus 5649 divided by negative 8.2. And root number 2, can you see that all right there? Is going to be 2.7 minus root of 5649 over negative 8.2. So that's how I'm going to get my two roots. So careful, okay? Root number 1. I'm going to go 2.7 plus second x2 to get the root. 5649, use all decimals. I hit enter at this point, and then I divide by negative 8.2, just to not have any issues with bed mass. Okay, so that'd be negative 1.25 is one of the roots. Technically, you found the x-intercept like this. I'm okay with either answer. So I would, if it asks specifically for the coordinates of the x-intercept, you would want it this way, but normally this is fine. Then you go over to this side, and you can do one of two things. You can actually copy that previous expression where it's plus and just replace the plus with a minus, not a negative, a minus, okay? Hit enter, you end up with negative 4.8159 something divided by negative 8.2. So we're going to divide that by negative 8.2 to get a positive 0.59 is our second root. So 0.590. Okay, so here's where marks are going to come in. Okay? I'm going to hand out marks like it's Boxing Day sale, okay? Like you're going to get Black Friday deals, okay? So 1 mark for correct substitution. So all the values are I can see it. You've put in the correct values everywhere. If you made even one mistake, you lose that mark. Okay? Next mark is you actually cleaning this up. Like going, sorry, that should be just 1 mark. Going from here to here. That's another mark that I would give you. So you may have lost the mark for substitution, but I still give you another mark for cleaning it up. Okay? And then I will give you 1 mark for the first root and another mark for the second root. So 4 marks in total. Don't panic. If you have these answers, if you arrive to those answers and they're correct, you get 4 out of 4. Okay? So I don't really mind if you skipped a few steps. I will just be extremely suspicious if all you come up with is with these right away. Like I do need to see the quadratic formula and the correct substitution, and I should see at least 1 or 2 steps in between before you get your final answer. Otherwise I'm going to credit ChatGPT on that one. Okay. Okay, so 4 marks for the first one. Let's keep going. 4 marks. Let's keep going. I'm going to do the bottom here. Okay, so 2A. You have to clean this up a bit. Rewrite. You have to rewrite first. Why? Because you have something on the other side that isn't 0. So I actually bring that over. I bring that over to this side, and every time you bring something over, a term over, it changes sign. So this is 4x squared minus 7x, right? The 7x comes over subtracting, minus 3 is equal to 0. You get a mark for that. Just rewriting it, okay? You don't need to write down the ABCs. I would be fine without you doing that. So now I'm going to substitute using my formula. Negative b plus or minus square root, make it long, right? It's negative, it's b squared, and b is negative 7, minus 4 times a times c. All of that divided by 2 times a. Okay. So you get a mark for a correct substitution. And now clean it up. So I go double negative, that would be positive, right? That turns positive, so that's a 7, plus or minus. Let's figure out what's in the root, what the discriminant is. So I clear my screen. I'm going to go negative 7 squared minus 4 times 4 times negative 3. You can do some mental math, right, if you feel comfortable. That's 97, exactly. Okay. Is it 97? You've got some nods? Some nods? Okay. 2 times 4 is 8. And then from here I usually branch out. I say that the first root is 7 plus root of 97 divided by 8. And the second root is going to be 7 minus root of 97 divided by 8. And so you take that 7 plus root of 97, hit enter, divided by 8. That's 2.11. And then the second one here is 7 minus root of 97, hit equals, divided by 8. That's negative 0.36. So I'm going to give you a mark for each of those roots. So 4 marks as well for this one. And last but not least, the ugly one, right? Yikes, what's up with that, right? Thanks for making my Thursday even worse, right? So we got to distribute here. You got to clean this up. So 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times minus 1 is negative 6x. I would write this down if you didn't get this, right? Plus 8 plus 4x. I'll give you half a mark for this step already. And then we'll do another half where we clean everything up. Okay? So what we want is we want the 2x, negative 2x squared to come over to this side to combine with this one. So it essentially is 6x squared. I'm going to use a red pen here. Plus 2x squared, because that came over, right? Minus 6x. And then this 4x here comes over to the other side, subtracting negative 4x. And then the constant here also comes over. So everything comes over to the other side, and we change the sign of it. So this would be 8 here. It comes over negative 8. Right? So you're like, everybody over to the left, right? That's your song. That's the theme of this. And then it's equal to 0. So we combine these to 8x squared. We combine these. They're both negative, so they add up to negative 10x. And there's your negative 8. That is equal to 0. So another half mark to get it to there. So 1 mark for the rewriting part. This one is probably one of the more challenging ones. It doesn't get much crazier than this. Okay, so if this is a bit challenging, just practice them when I assign some class time. All right. So now we need to do our quadratic formula. So negative b. It's not always going to be double negatives, okay? It's not always going to be. Plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c. And then all of this divided by 2 times a. So one of the common mistakes is that students only divide this part by 2 times a, but it's actually the entire thing. So we first have to come up with a number up top and then divide. So you get a mark for this. Double negative, that's 10. Positive, plus or minus. Let's figure out what this is. So we go negative 10 in brackets, that's 100, right? And then it's minus 4 times 8 times negative 8. You get 356 over 2 times 8, that's 16. Okay, and now we get our two roots here. Root 1 is 10 plus 356 over 16. And root 2 is 10 minus root of 356 over 16. And I'm just going to give you the answers here. This one is 1.8, and this one is negative 0.55. 1 mark for each. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4. So we have 3 questions that we did worth 4 marks each. So this makes it out of 12. Okay? Total of 12. So write that down. I'm not gonna go into the whole the bonus there. I'm not gonna even make that a bonus. That was just a challenge for you. So there's a ball being thrown in Mars, and the other one on Neptune, and they both would have different paths if you graph them both. And so it's asking how much earlier would it land on Neptune compared to Mars. So you find the x-intercepts for both, and then you subtract them to get your 2.26 is supposed to be your answer there. So if you got that, good to go. You're good to go. All right. So first and last name on there, pass them forward. Let me just stop.